Holy Mary, Mother of God. So today we start talking about the three religious vows. And let me give you a little story. When I was in Haiti, with Father Walter and after Father Mariano, we prepared to celebrate the first vows of the novices. And so Father Walter said, well, maybe you can explain a little bit to the parents, to the friends, to the families, what these three vows are. And so I tried to give a little very simple explanation. And one of the fathers of the students raised his hand and said, yes, speak, yes. And he says, how come, says, after you prepare for 3 years our children to become professionals, all of a sudden you cut their head off because you ask them to make the vow of poverty. They do not make money. And this doesn't make sense. And so I tried to explain to him that the vow of poverty is not really, to take care of business, but it is for the sanctification of a person. So if we do not see the vows in light of the faith, they will make sense. Because it is almost the opposite of what, as human beings, we desire. So the three vows are the three steps to holiness. Remember we start talking about holiness. The three steps to holiness. The step of poverty, the step of chastity, the step of obedience. And poverty is, I would say, at the basis. Because if you are not free from things of this world, you cannot start your journey for holiness. If you are not free, you cannot obey when the Superior asks you to go someplace. If you are not free, or you are attached to a person, you cannot love the people of God and everybody else. So we see that poverty is a profound attitude, spiritual attitude. Has to do, yes, with material things, but has to do as a making yourself free so that you can lift up your heart and your soul and start journeying toward holiness. The little bird, if he has just a little thread tied to its leg, he cannot start flying away. He has to break that little thread from its feet. Because even though it is a very small thread, but doesn't allow him to fly. It is like a tripod. In order to stand, the tripod needs all three of them. You cannot stand with just two balls. So it needs the third. All three of them at the same time, because all three vowels somehow are related to each other and sustain and support each other. So it is very, very important to understand that our vows, they are not just because I want to be a missionary, because I cannot get married, because I have to do whatever my Superior tells me. Those are just the external definition of vows. The real meaning of the vow is that I want to become like Christ, so that then people can see Christ in me. That's basically the meaning of the vows. So we start with the vow of poverty. And it is really a vow of freedom, of detachment, a vow that makes you really able then to follow Christ. And it has to be chosen. Remember, sometimes, especially in the beginning, you don't have money, so there is no way that you go against poverty. You don't have the money, period. But then later on, when you have marriage, then you're in charge of the finances, and you could become rich. Even though the money, hypothetically, is not yours because it's a society is in charge. But you can use it and abuse it because it is in your hands, it is in your power. So it is also a question of money. And you have to be very careful. Because if you look at families, they don't have money to spend, they don't have money to throw away. They are very careful because money means life and food and studies and books. So you see that, yes, poverty has to do also with money, but most of all is an internal attitude, a detachment from things. You know, my life, I met a millionaire. He was very poor because he did not even knew where his money was. Then you find some poor person who is very rich because he has maybe $3, but this is so attached to those $3 that he doesn't think about anything else but those little money. And he's trying to see how to make more money, even though sometimes doesn't. So, poverty is an act of freedom. To be totally free from material things, but also poverty of spirit. It means from my affection. And we'll see also about chastity. You know, I have to be free if I want to love the church and everybody else. If I am attached even to some people or to some feeling emotions, to my attached to my thinking. You know, the most difficult thing is to detach yourself from your way of thinking and try to learn a new way of thinking, which is Jesus Christ. So you see that poverty is three levels: material, sentimental, but also spiritual, intellectual. And as a matter of fact, today many people talk about intellectual property. When we do together some program, you have to be careful not to take programs from other people because they belong to other people. Intellectual property. For us, for ourselves, many times is our own hard-headed. You know, I want things my way. That's against law. Because you're not free, you're not attached. But let's go to Scalabrinian. Scalabrinian was a poor person. You know, he died poor. He didn't have to do a will to leave this to my nephew, this to my niece. No. He didn't have anything to leave behind. Why? Because he used everything for the missions. He used everything for his diocese. And you remember the story when in 1879 when there was a famine in Vicenza. In 2 months, he gave out 2,500 suits from his own house. In 2 months, 2,500 meals to the people because it was a famine. When it came to the point that he was sending the first 2 missionaries to the Americas, he didn't have the money to pay for the boat, for the tickets. And the secretary, the night before, says, Excellency, we don't have the money for tomorrow. And he said, don't worry, God will provide. The morning after the Mass, a man came in and gave the money. Right there. That moment, early morning. So you see that he was able to trust almost to the limit that God was going to provide. And one day, the secretary says, Bishop, one of these days, you're going to sell also your bed because you sold the horses, you sold the drapery, so he sold the challenge that Pius IX had given him as a gift to feed the poor. And said, when he says bed, this is not bad if we don't have a bed to sleep because our Savior was put in the manger, he slept in the manger. So it was almost even, a little bit of comic about it, but he was totally detached. And in those days, at 36 years of age, to become the bishop, the chancellor, which was already a big diocese. They had about 265 parishes, and he went through it 5 times. 5 times. He went to visit his parishes, 265 parishes. And he went with a horse or walking. He didn't have a helicopter or a car in those days. So you see that he lived as a poor man, and he spent everything for the mission, for the diocese. That's so important. And why? Because he had that great trust. See, as I said before, poverty equals trusting God. How many times we try to take care of our own business? I started a radio now, I started television. I have, now when I go back, we have to start a radio station with the diocese in Brooklyn. And the budget in a year is $260,000. So where am I going to find it? But if God wants that station, He's going to come up with the money. Because it's not my idea or my idea. So that's also quality. To be able to trust God when you don't have what you need for certain projects. And it keeps you humble. If you're rich, the first thing, you are proud. That I can do this, I can do that. I can feel more powerful than you because I have so much money. Look at the Republican candidate in the United States, Donald Trump. Because he's a millionaire, he thinks he can fix the world. And he's going to find very, very big surprises. Because you don't fix the world with money. You remember Jesus said, you can serve God and money. Either one. You cannot serve both. So, poverty is trust and poverty is humility. You trust that God, if it is His plan, His project, He's going to come up with whatever you need. If it is my project, then God says, okay, you find the money. If you want to do your own project, you take care of it. But if I say, no God, I want to do your project, then God is going to take care of things. Important things in Constitution 67, it says, we choose poverty. This is something that I want to stress. You have to desire to be poor. Not because you cannot be rich or you don't have the possibility of being rich. It's when you have the possibility of being rich and then you desire to be poor. That's the virtue. That's the vow. That's the holiness. But if you wait whenever you put your hands on money and you grab it, then you don't have the vow of poverty. Because as soon as you get some attachment to something, you get it. Instead, if you say, no, I want to be poor, I want to stay poor, and God will take care of me. I don't have to take care of things, but I wait until God intervenes in my life. That's the vow of poverty. It frees you from temporary goods, it makes you available to the confreres, and anticipates new heavens and new earth. You remember, you heard that the vows, they have an eschatological dimension. What does it mean? Many people think eschatological is after you die. It's not true. Eschatological is here, now, today. That means to live as in heaven. To live here on earth with the same attitude, the same environment, the same commitment as people live in heaven. So if we can bring down the life of heaven and bring it down here, that's people see how people live in heaven. If you're looking at you, they see a spiritual man, a man totally detached from this world, a man who is totally free to follow God, then I say, okay, that must be the life that we are going to live in heaven. So the eschatological dimension is a witness, it is a proof that in heaven we will be totally free and totally dedicated to God. So it is important to take this understanding, because otherwise it doesn't make sense, like I said before. If you have the ability to make money, why don't you make money? If you have the ability to become a rich millionaire, why don't you become a millionaire? No, because we choose to be poor, to be free from all these things, and we make our choice. It is, to be. It takes time to reach a point where you love to be poor. You remember St. Francis, we said the song before. St. Francis used to call Madonna Povertà, my lady poverty. My lady that I love and I espouse. It means I bring it into my life. So poverty is something that we desire for our life. And if you go deep down, when we are poor, we are more inclined to poverty. We are more inclined to eat God. We are more inclined to help people. In my experience, I always trusted the poor people to help. Rich people don't help you because they're looking to make money on you. But the poor people say, okay, Father, let me give you maybe a few dollars. Maybe they'll give you $1. But many poor people, and there are many poor people, make more than one rich man. Okay? So it is very important. You have to trust that God will come through. That God will come through. I'll give you a good example. When the first time I went away from the United States, I went to Mexico. After that little crisis I had. And so when I was ready to leave from New York to Mexico City, I had 2 big suitcases. And one was full of books, because I said, oh no, I need this, okay. Oh, this is good, oh, okay. Oh, this reminds me of... And so I filled a suitcase of books, heavy, like crazy, like that. I get to Mexico City. You know, Mexico City is 2,000 meters above the sea level, and the air is very thin. So I was coming from New York down the Manila Sea up to Mexico City. When I got there, I couldn't breathe. I was they asked me. Then I tried to lift those 2 valises. I couldn't move them. I couldn't raise. So I had to call a man and said, please come here, help me, right? Give me some money. And so he put in my valises in the car, and then he was walking so fast I couldn't follow him. And then I realized that because I was not used to that type of thing, and I couldn't believe it. I said, my God, what did they do? Why did they take all these books and everything, and I cannot even walk? I'm there in the airport. And luckily, outside the airport, there was another with a car, and says, what did they do? He says, why did you bring all those books? Oh, they can be useful. Come on, he says, we have everything here anyway. They are in English. We here speak Spanish, why do you bring all those books? So, my first decision was this. Next time I'm going to travel, just a little valise with a few clothes and the baby. That's it. I don't need anything else. As a matter of fact, I learned my lesson now, because sometimes you're attached even to your books. I remember a young man, he went from New York to Montreal. He had to hire a truck to bring 27 cases of books. I said, where are you going to put them? No, they are good, and I cannot, throw them away, blah, blah. So he had to bring 27 cases of books. And I'm sure he never went all of them. because even up there they have another language, they speak French. So you see, sometimes we are attached to things that we do not need. And if we are able to free ourselves, then God can help us, God can intervene in our life much, much bigger way. So poverty is also obeying the law of work. Now this is important because sometimes, we say, oh, I'm religious, I say my mass and then close myself in my room and I say, well, I watch TV all day. That's not possible. Like any human being, we have to work. And we have to put in the 8 hours of work. Otherwise, we are like the rich who do not work. And they don't need to work. Instead of being poor, it means to work hard every day. Like your mom and dad. They go to work every day. We have to work every day. And if we do that, we live the law of human work, the law of every human being. We are like them. We are poor like them because we have to work every day in order to be able to go on. And this is also very important for when we are in the parish, even in the seminary. I don't study all that I can. I'm not poor because I'm not working. If I don't help, if I am not interested in my affairs, I'm not really living about poverty. Because poverty is connected to work, and work is a law for every human being. Then we talk also about corporate poverty. What does it mean, corporate poverty? It means that even as a group, we cannot be rich. There was a little story in Scalabrinian. One day, Mother Superior went to the bishop and said, Bishop, come and see our convent caught fire. Come and see the destruction of our convent. So the bishop goes, he looks around, and he goes, let's go everybody in the chapel. So they go to the chapel, and the bishop says, we have to sing unto them. What do you mean to them is Thanksgiving? Why? He says, yeah, because now you can start living as poor nuns. The fire took away all of your things that you didn't need, and now you can start being real poor. So I remember Mother Teresa in New York. She came. We had a parish in Newark, outside New York, and she started a community of sisters, and she came herself because in the beginning she used to go for every new community she wanted to be herself. So she came, and I remember Father Isaiah, our actor, they prepared a nice house for the sisters. Mother Teresa comes, and he goes, oh, what's that? A refrigerator? Oh, my sister don't want a refrigerator. Oh, then they go to the chapel, they put a nice carpet. He says, what's that? Carpet? No, my sister don't want carpet. Out. And so because my sister kneeled on the floor, and I says, Father Isaiah said, listen, we prepared a checking account. What's that? No, I said, we live in the providence, we don't need checking accounts. The providence will take care of us. And so she got rid of all the things that we, as an act of charity, we thought the sister would need. No. Poor sister, and she really got rid of everything. And I remember Father Isaiah was a little bit disappointed because he thought he would do something good for them. Instead, Father Isaiah said, no. We don't need refrigerator, we don't need carpets, we don't need checking account, nothing of that. And so that means to be really free and really trusting that God will take care of us. Going back to the corporate poverty, sometimes our homes are poor. Maybe we are poor, but our home, they have the less type of computer, the less type of television, they have all kinds of gadgets and cameras. They have less type of car, SUV, and a big car, You're always alone. Why do you need such a big crowd? So, you see, sometimes, because we are together, we can lack poverty even as a group, as an institution. For instance, we were talking the other day, if we are trying to sell a piece of property in Rio, which was the old seminary. And there will be a big chunk of money. And I asked, what do we do with that money? Because if we take that money and we put it in the bank just to accumulate money and money, to make more money and money, that's not poverty. It says we have to use that money for the mission. We have to use it for the migrants. I don't mean give it away, like St. Francis did, but at least to build something for the missions, for the migrants. That's why we have those properties. And if we try to accumulate money over money, God is going to punish us. God is not going to send us vocation. Because He says, how can I send young people there when they are already rich? And then we ask them to do the vow of poverty when they live a rich life. So it is important that everything that we have in our community should be at the service of the mission, the service of migrants. Finally, poverty is against individualism. One of the biggest problems we have in our world today is individualism. I care about myself and I don't care about anybody else. That's very dangerous, because that individualism makes yourself isolated. It doesn't allow you to be community. That's why, for instance, in our Constitution, it says, yes, you can use the goods of the community, but with permission, because that's to be done together. When you ask permission to the superior, it means that you don't do things on your own. You don't just do what you want. No, it says we do things as a community. So that's why I asked my superior, listen, I need a car because I have to go to St. Mass here and there. So together the superior said, okay. I remember when I got to from Haiti to New York, it was for a funeral, and I told him, so listen, I need a little car. And he spent $15,000 for a nice little Toyota, who never gave me a problem. Everybody else has to go to the mechanic every other month. Instead of this little car, very beautiful, very strong, never gave me a problem. But he said, I'm very happy, because it says, in the middle of all the Chinatown, if I go there with a big car, immediately they said, who's he? He said, I go there with a car like theirs. And so I feel at home. So asking permission is not because I have to be subjected to the superior. It's because we do things together. Because we do things as a community. And so that by doing that, we also overcome our own individualism. If you look, when we try to get money, we try to hide it. One of the things is, I'm doing the same thing in the parish. I'm trying to hide it from the bishop. But it is something that, because I did it for something else, but it is important not to hide anything, because it is going to come back as a problem. I only thank the pastor before me, Father John, because the day before he left, he comes to me with a bag, and he says, look, Father, I have some extra money here which I kept as an emergency. He says, how much? 20,000. Wow! Thank you, sir. Because now for 2-3 weeks I don't have to worry about anything. So, but you see, he could have done the opposite. He could have said, oh, nobody knows about this money, I can take it with me. It says, he said, he didn't hide anything, he just brought it back there. This is the money that belongs to the parish, but I didn't deposit it because I kept it for emergency. Good. But see, if he would hide something that goes against poverty. Instead, part of the poverty, we do things together. We do things as brothers. And finally, sharing with one another, not being possessive. You know, if I have a good camera, my days to have a camera was a maximum. Today is to have a good. But in my days, you know, to have a camera was a great thing. And there was one who was always kept he always had an excuse not to allow you to use that camera. So sometimes, you know, when you felt that, he said someone else, I remember Father Brazil, came out with a beautiful camera, but everybody was using it. And so everybody could have beautiful pictures. So to be together, it means also to share the things we have, to share the life that we live together. So I'm going to stop here. Just poverty is the basis. If you're not poor, detached, you cannot love anybody because you don't love yourself and your money. You know, if you are not poor and detached, you cannot follow the will of God. You cannot live the one of obedience. So poverty is really the bottom line where you can build your life and your lives. So let me just conclude saying that our vows can mean only if we live them in view of the journey to holiness. Otherwise, they don't have meaning. But if we live that, we become a sign for everybody. The last thing I remember now, one day I was crossing the Manhattan Bridge and I see a nurse, probably passing away, asking to be brought to the other side of the bridge, and I stopped. As soon as she walks to me and looks at me, says, "What? You're a priest?" "Yeah," he says, "I'm a priest." "What's the matter with you guys? You don't know how to enjoy life. Why can't you have a living like everybody else?" And I said, "Madam, I'm happy. You can have all the money you want, you're not happy." I said, "Me, I don't have anything, I don't need anybody, and I'm happy." I said, "I can't believe you guys. I can't believe you." So I was on the other side of the bridge, "Please get out and go your way." But immediately, seeing the fact that she saw my car as a priest, immediately I become a sign. I become a witness of something that people cannot understand. But we'll talk about testing next time. It is very, very important. You know, the vows is a great gift to us because they make us free to be able to really make the journey for God and for